Alrighty, I don't have slides, I don't have projector, so just gonna be a conversation. My name is Dmitrii. I am a huge nerd, so I hope I can become your friend today. If you've been at the Ignite last year, it's the repetition of the same topic as from last year, but I want to turn it more into Q&A. So I have a couple stories to tell. Maybe it's going to take about 10 minutes or so, and then after that, I'd like to open up for questions. If any of you have questions, however basic they are, don't hesitate to ask them, because as business owners, we all want to get all of the basics covered as well. So we're going to be talking about digital marketing. We're going to be talking about how to understand where to invest your money in and get the most ROI as possible. Digital marketing as the arena for a person who's not friendly with the numbers, for a person who doesn't like digging into data, for a person who's not really a nerd, might be a bit scary, but that's where people like me come in, or maybe your digital marketing director or marketing manager. Make sure that they are a nerd as well. Really quickly want to cover the basics. Imagine that all of the business cards that you have printed out, or the wraps on your vehicles, on your work trucks, work vans, if you did all of that stuff and then put the business cards, printed them, designed them, put them in a box, put them in the closet and never used it again, that would be not very smart business decision. Or if you wrapped all of your vans and trucks and cars that are work vehicles and then parked them in the garage and they would never see a day of light. It would be also a pretty bad idea. So in the same, just as business cards and work vehicles, wrapped work vehicles, your website in the online world is supposed to be a marketing tool as well. It's not supposed to be kind of built once and never talked about, never spoken about. Again, it's not supposed to be in the darkest corner of your business. It's supposed to be an appealing thing, not a deterrent. It's not supposed to scare people. Hi there. Yeah. If you'd like, you can move on this side so you can see me and stuff. But it's up to you. Don't want to force you. Yeah, and then one of the most important things about website is that no matter how much money and effort you put towards offline marketing, online marketing, and people get to your website and it doesn't convert those visitors into leads, calls, and sales, then none of it matters. It's going to be literally the same as if you were taking that money that you're spending on marketing and lighting it on fire. So just to make sure that you pay good attention to your website, how it's built and what it does. Look at the metrics. There are plenty of different online marketing channels. There is online group, there is offline group. Under online, we have things like organic search, paid ads, social media, email marketing, and so on. And under offline group, you have your print advertising, TV ads, radio spots, and all of that stuff. But especially if you're a smaller company, just starting or budgets are limited, if you were to ask me, where should I start first? Not ever, but just where should I start first? I will always say that you should start with digital marketing. Why? Because it's 100% trackable. If you buy an ad or TV or on a TV or a radio spot, there is no true way to understand and to be able to track with any certainty how many calls that got you or how many sales you got from that TV ad, let's say. In the online world, however, you can track every step of the way. You can see what people searched on, let's say, Google, which page of the website they went to, if they called from that page or filled out a form, if that form or call became a qualified lead, and if that qualified lead became a sold job. Therefore, giving you, the business owner or marketing director, information about the revenue that those marketing efforts brought in. So it's going to be very easy for you to understand true ROI. And when I say true ROI, it's not just revenue to cost, It's net margin to cost. Because if you think about it, there is not going to be ever a company that went out of business because they were not profitable and losing money, but then left a 5-star review for their marketing agency just because their rankings were good. So it's all about that net profit, the profits that you're getting from all of your marketing activities. So become friendly with the numbers, become friendly with the data, and you as a business owner, as a marketing director, as a marketing manager, you should be able to understand and hopefully know, but at very least be able to find out answers to questions like, we just spent $5,000 on this ad in the magazine. How many calls we got from it? How many leads we got from it, qualified leads? How many jobs and what revenue we got from it? Or you should be able to at least find out a way to answer a question of, we are paying social media marketing company, how many calls, leads, and sales we got from that. And if you can't, as a business owner, there's a problem. So again, just become friendly with the numbers, find a friend who's a nerd, and talk to them. One quick story, and then we can go into Q&As. So the idea here today is just to open it up to you so that you can ask your questions about your business specifically, so it becomes a bit more tangible rather than theoretical. So start thinking about some questions that you might have from a marketing or specifically online marketing perspective. All right, so I now live in New Hampshire. We have a very nice property. It's wooded. In fall, it turns colors. It's very beautiful. We have a little creek running through it. And last fall, me and my wife were walking the property, and we decided, hey, let's do a pit fire to spend the evening by. I gathered a bunch of little branches, piled them up, crinkled some newspaper, put it under the branches, lit it up, and nothing happened. It's like, well, okay, probably branches are just a bit wet. So I got lighter fluid and put it all over, lit it up, and the fire started going. It looked like my last attempt of cooking in the kitchen. And then it just died down again. So I added more lighter fluid, relit it, and nothing happened. Only after the branches, enough of the branches dried up, the fire started going. In the world of online marketing, SEO, search engine optimization, is the logs, and PPC, paid ads, is like gas on fire. For SEO, it takes a bit more time, it takes a bit longer for it to start going, but after it is going, it will keep producing results for you, just like the logs that are caught on fire. And then PPC, paid media ads, it's like a gas on fire, where you, whenever you need a bit of a boost, a bit of a kickstart, you splash a bit, but it's not consistent. You can't rely on it. You can't heat your house with just burning lighter fluid. Or I guess you could, but it'll take forever and would cost a lot, yeah. So this phrase, in the world of online marketing, SEO is like the logs and PPC is like gas on fire. It's a very good analogy. So just remember that whenever you talk to your marketing folks. And to conclude this little presentation, PPC is, so you might ask how to use paid ads, then should I use it at all? How do I use it in the best place? The idea of it is that PPC is not a long-term investment, it's not sustainable, and the way you should use it is more about as a supplementary leads channel. So for example, you just bought a new truck, hired a couple new people, or maybe your last week was bad in terms of sales and you need a bit of a boost, you need a bit of a few new leads where you can catch up in terms of your revenue. That's when you use PPC. Not all the time, not as a main source of leads. And in terms of SEO, of course, takes typically, we say, 6 to 8 months to start producing results. But then after that, it kind of goes on its own, as long as you throw a log in there once in a while. And what I mean by that is kind of maintenance type of optimization, where you create maybe a piece of content, maybe update a piece of content, or do a bit of technical optimization on a website. I have this whole talk recorded from last year. I don't know how many of you were at the Ignite last year. It's a whole 1-hour presentation where I go into all of the details for SEO and PPC and what the gold nuggets are and what to do and what not to do. But again, today I wanted to make this more of a Q&A session. So if you'd like to watch that whole video, there is a way. If you go to regexseo.com/praxis2022, it's going to take you to that YouTube video. You can watch it at your own time and learn more. I also have a QR code if you want to come up later and take the little picture. That is it for my little presentation for now. I hope that I inspired you to ask some questions. And if you've been having any problems, if you have any issues with your digital marketing efforts in the past, or maybe you are even doing okay, or maybe even good, but are looking to get to that next level, then again, still ask questions. I've been doing this for quite a while, and I've seen everything from very basic stuff to very high-level stuff. So, yeah, yes, sir.
So would you consider, like, just, I'm just saying, like, bare bones is like, just very generic. Would you consider these three parts that we should focus on would be SEO, PPC, and reviews, Google, like to revolve around Google. Those are the three main things, right? Or is there something that you would add to those three things? I know there's subcategories in each one, like to do SEO, there's a bunch of other ways.
Yeah.
And PPC, and then to get reviews, right? But would those be the three main for Google?
For Google, yes, sure. For Google, yes. SEO is going to be your long-term solution, long-term investment, almost like a retirement, right? You are investing in the beginning with little results, but then after it's going, it kind of produces on its own. And the reason, again, to use PPC is as a supplementary channel where in the beginning, while SEO is developing, so that you have some leads, that's when you use PPC. And reviews are helpful in general for things like, for example, GLSA ads or maps, showing up on maps, because the main factor for Google about if to show you on the maps or GLSA is number of reviews and, more importantly, frequency of them. Think about Google in this way. Google is a machine, it's not a person. It can't read some kind of clues that are not data, that are not information. So how can they, as a software, how can they understand if you are still in business and if you're doing good work? That's where reviews come in. If Google sees that you are consistently every week, every month getting a few reviews, they're good, everybody's happy, and in those reviews your services are mentioned, then there you go. That's how they know that you're still in business, that you're doing well, versus another company that they might be in business for 40 years, but then shut their doors for one reason or the other. So reviews are important, definitely. It's not the biggest factor, but it is definitely one of those things that's quite important for maps and GLSA ads. Yeah.
What's the biggest factor?
The biggest factor for which channel?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. So biggest factor, it's all per channel. If you're talking about SEO, it's content. The way to understand it is if you are not on your website, if you're not talking about boiler repair, Google will not be able to understand that you do boiler repair. And so content has to be optimized for Google, but also for users. So at the top of the website, usually in the beginning, kind of at the top of the page, make sure that you provide all of the information to users, questions that users want to be answered. So typically what we recommend at the top of each page that is per service, you would say what service you provide, what area you service, price range typically, because as a user that's what you want. How much is it going to cost me? Things like, do you provide emergency services, 24/7 services? Maybe offers, if you have any offers for that specific service, and what we call social proof, which is reviews or testimonials or something like that. And typically just a link, the little like a badge that says 5 stars out of 100 reviews, and then the link to Google reviews or Facebook reviews or whatever you have the most reviews. That does well enough because you don't have to just copy everything and have a lot of space taken out by written testimonials. And people understand that if you have testimonials that are text, of course it's going to be curated. So people understand that you're only going to put the best foot forward. So there is no trust factor from that perspective anyway. What you need to show them is, yes, I have real reviews. People can leave reviews on my Google profile, and here's a link to it.
Another question.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, if last week was the performance was not good,
Mm-hmm.
you could do pay-per-click to make up for last week's poor
Yeah.
performance. Could you give us an example of what you've done with the clients that you're working with to pull
Right.
the lever to make up revenue?
Right. So the biggest example is going to be typically winter months. From middle of January to about middle of April, the entire home services industry just slows down a lot. I'm sure you all noticed it, especially last year with the temperatures being mild. So we work with Hiller quite a bit. And because there is just not as many people searching for services in the first place, you have to get that boost somewhere. And that's where you start investing into pay-per-click ads, because if the overall number of searches, organic searches, is down, you have to get it somewhere else. So with Hiller, typically the costs, the investment into spend for PPC, GLSA, and other types of ads increases during winter months, especially when there is a bit of a slowdown. So yeah, we pretty much do that with every client.
Can you give us a specific of what y'all done to generate the revenue?
Like what ads we are running?
Yeah, like what ads or what leverage y'all pull? Like if we're down
It's-
last week, what can we do this week?
It's just the budget. So if typically you spend, let's say, $5,000 on Google ads, and you know that you need a bit of more leads, because it works pretty straightforward. People click on your ad, go to your page, hopefully call you, and then it becomes a job. So the more clicks you have, the more potential for leads you have and calls, and therefore the more potential for.
So on that same subject, so I'm thinking like I mean, did you have keywords, or do you own keywords? You know, what makes the ad show up?
Okay.
You know, what makes me want to click on that ad? How do we get to the top of the page?
Okay, so in terms of the ads, there are multiple factors that are very important. The biggest thing is it all starts with the keywords, what people search. So make sure that what ads you're running are the ads that have value for the business. And here's an actual example. For example, boiler maintenance will bring your business a couple of $100 in revenue, a few $100. Versus, let's say, water heater installations or AC installations, that's a several $1,000s job. And if the cost per click is about the same for both of them, it's very clear that you should concentrate when you need it on installations and a job that has high margin, basically. because that's what it comes down to. If the cost per click is $20, $30 on Google Ads, then you can't eat it all up with you can't eat your margin up with that, because otherwise you're going to start losing money on every job. So pick and choose keywords that are profitable for the business, which are services, keywords for services that are profitable for the business. The more margin you have in terms of dollar revenue, the better. Sorry, let me finish. There's a couple more thoughts. And so that's one thing. And then you have to be consistent. Whenever a user types in, let's say, boiler repair, and your ad says boiler repair in this town, they get confirmation that they're in the right place. After they click on the ad, they go to the landing page on your website, and that landing page should also say boiler repair in this town. And then whatever call to action on the page, it should be very clear for the users. Call this number, or send us this email here, or fill out a form. So make it easy for people. I hope I'm answering your question. If you have more questions, definitely ask. And yes, sir, what did you have a follow-up?
So I have two. One is related to the keyword. So
yep.
if we're concentrating on a zip code,
yeah.
Do you have access to see what those most searched in our industry keywords, top keywords are? So
yes.
We can know
in that area.
Yeah, in that area, in that specific area.
Yes, it's free to find out. Google Ads, for example, will tell you that information. It's called Keyword Diagnostics Tool, I think. Other tools that are paid, like SEMrush, Ahrefs, and plenty of others, do that. Quick tip, don't forget about Bing ads. We've seen them to be as cheap, as much as 20 times cheaper than Google ads. Bing ads. Fewer people use Bing, but one of the things to keep in mind is that Bing comes by default as a search engine on Edge browser, and Edge browser comes as a default on pretty much all Windows laptops. So think about a type of customer that would buy a laptop and never touch how it's set up. Typically, maybe older folks, maybe people who are not as technology friendly. So kind of if you're in a smaller town, middle of nowhere, work with farmers or serve farmers, that's going to be a type of clientele that will use Bing more than Google Ads. And if it costs you 10, 20 times less per click, why not at least try it out? We have seen, so we have a client, they're serving Oklahoma area, and on Google Ads it costs them like $35 per click typically. On Bing it costs them $2. So that's a big difference. And you can get literally 10 to 20 times more people going to your website, to your pages, to then hopefully convert into a call or a lead. Yes, sir.
So the other question I have is, if we run a campaign, how do we know if it was successful or not? Like, do you meet with your clients weekly,
right?
Or monthly? What
yeah.
key metrics do you look for?
I'm a business owner myself, so what matters for me is sales. That's it. Like everything else is marketer's job. They should know the internal metrics, quality score, click-through rate, and cost per click, and whatever else. But
so you don't report any of that?
No.
Rate on your campaign, you don't report any of that?
Okay. As a marketing manager, as a marketing director, if you are that person, you should know them and you should pay attention. But if you're just a business owner that you have to run the rest of the business, what matters to you is number of calls, number of qualified leads, and number of jobs and sales. Really, all of that comes down to sales. If I spend $5,000 on Google Ads, did I get $10,000 in revenue, or whatever your margin is, right? If I got that, I'm good. If I didn't, none of the metrics matter. Now, quick caveat, if you just started working with a PPC agency, it does take time to set everything up. So in the beginning, you might see hopefully not a loss, but a break even. But then the longer you do it, the more profitability there should be. And if there isn't, then either the agency doesn't know what they're doing, or it might be there's some kind of problem. There's going to be problem somewhere. Maybe it's a landing page, maybe it's an ad, maybe it's the type of keyword. If you are running, any of you, if you're running Google Ads, Bing Ads, or any of those paid ads, if your agency, if your marketer runs broad keywords match, it's called broad keyword match, fire them today. Because what it does is it pulls in anything remotely connected to the searches. So, for example, like a very simple example would be if you are bidding on people searching AC repair, your ads will show up for things like what is AC unit, or even something crazier than that, anything related to AC or repair. And it has been all over the place. So as a business, you're going to be wasting money. So never use broad match keywords pretty much ever. And so yeah, just ask your marketer today. If they do, there's a problem. Yes, sir?
Other than blogs, how else would you recommend to get those backlinks?
Okay, backlinks. For those folks who don't know, backlink is an essential part of SEO. And the way to understand it, well, so it is a link from any other website going to your website. The way Google treats it is as thumbs up or recommendation. Here's a real life example. Let's say you want to go to a restaurant, some kind of nice restaurant, and you ask your friends, can you recommend, which restaurant should I go to? And you can ask a family friend or somebody you really trust, or you can ask, just go on the street corner and yell at everybody, like, hey, what restaurant should I go to? The more trustworthy the source is, the more certain you are going to be that it's a good recommendation. And then also the number of those recommendations. If everybody tells you go to Bob's barbecue joint, and 10 people, 20, 100 people tell you Bob's barbecue joint is the place, then you are more confident that is the good place. So the same thing is for backlinks. The more websites link to your site, basically they're saying that's the website you should go to for AC repair, boiler repair, whatever it is, for whatever service you provide. That's how Google understands, out of all of the thousands competitors in your area or websites in your area, which ones they should prioritize. I hope that kind of gave you an idea what backlinks are. Now, to your question specifically, how to get them, the answer is content marketing. So you need to produce and create content and then post it on your website that people want and people love. An example would be, it could be a blog post. Let's say, let's say 10 tips for how to save energy costs, monthly energy costs for homeowners. And if it's really good and people see it and they like it, then kind of the word spreads and people will be linking to that. But it's not only that. You can create helpful tools. It could be some kind of calculator for, again, energy costs, or what size AC unit should I get, or I don't know, what else can I think of? Basically, any kind of interactive calculator that will help your potential customer to answer a question. And the better that content is, the better that tool is, the more people would link and spread the word. It's like sharing idea, right? If people like it, they're going to share it, therefore you're going to get that link. And next time they talk to anybody, maybe they post it on social media or a blogger picks it up, they say this is the place where you should go for this tool, or for they are the experts on this topic.
So that same ad, post on your website or make a landing page for that is an idea.
It's not it, no. No, we're talking about third-party websites
I mentioned.
mentioning your site,
Right,
basically.
So, well, I'm saying you create an ad or a helpful tool or a helpful blog or whatever the content is.
Uh-huh.
Post it on your website.
Yeah.
Where else would you post that? Was my question. I mean,
Okay,
To
Right.
generate that type of traffic back to your website.
right. Think about it like this. Where does your audience live? And wherever they are, that's where you should post it. It could be a local news portal. It could be local Facebook group. It could be local bloggers. Like for example, I lived in Houston for quite a while. There is a local, it's like a Houston local eats and Houston local, it's not a news portal, it's like a,
Neighborhood news.
yeah, kind of like a neighborhood thing, yeah. And who goes there? It's local people, typically, and you can look at or ask demographic. They were in a demographic of people who were homeowners between 35 and like 50 or something like that. That's your prime demographic. So put that content there, and you can pay for it. You can pay to that blogger or website and ask them to post it on your behalf, or you can become a contributor, and you can once in a while post there something great, helpful to the users, and in your author biography or in the content itself, you would link to the content that you produced on your website. So yeah, anywhere where your audience lives, that's where you should be spreading information. It's called content marketing, right? So you create content that provides value, and then you market that content, from social posts to again blogs, newspapers,
Just wanna put
anything like that.
keywords in there so it's searched the right way when you want to do like pay-per-click.
The keywords don't matter that much because it goes on third-party websites. Right. What matters is just the link itself, and the more authoritative that is, the better. Like think about.
So you put a hyperlink in the blog that you got going, so when they click on it,
It takes them to the website. Yes. So think about also authority places. It's just like in that example where you ask about the restaurant. If you ask your close friend or a family member, you trust them more than a random person you met on the street. So think about what are local websites or blogs or whatever they are that people trust. There's like a Chronicle pages, for example, like Houston Chronicle, Boston Chronicle, which is fairly highly authoritative source. And if information is there, people would typically assume it's 100% correct, or people trust that information. So just think about that as well. The more authoritative those sites are, where they are talking about you, the better. I hope I answered your question.
yeah, I just want kind of a general also plan.
Yeah. Now, quick note on that. Again, it's not about quantity; it's about quality, right? So think about the topics and your expertise, and what can you provide in terms of value. We call it 10x value. 10 times better than anybody else. What can you talk about that provides 10 times more value to your audience, to your potential customers, than anybody else does? Because it shouldn't be just another blog if there is hundreds of them already out there.
That's one that people keep returning to, right?
People keep returning to, and people keep spreading information about. The whole idea is you need to create something that is so good that people talk about it naturally through social media, through if they have some kind of blog or whatever else. So it's the idea of producing something so good people can't stop talking about it. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So if we were to partner with your company, and it's kind of back to that question earlier, what can we expect in terms of the cadence of meetings? Do you meet with
Right.
clients and go through the results?
Right, yeah. Every company is different. What we do is we meet as often as required in order for you to be comfortable. So typically in the beginning, we meet every week. After maybe 3 months, 4 months, whenever both parties feel that we trust each other, we know what we're talking about, the results are coming in, maybe we switch to every 2 weeks. And then after a year or two, or whatever long it takes, when there's even more trust, results are even better, there's not that much happening on those bi-weekly meetings, we switch to a month. So with Healer, we meet about once a quarter now, but we've been working with them for like 4 years.
So with that example with Healer, what information do y'all cover? Like, I know revenue is the most important, but
Yeah.
what are the key metrics that y'all cover to get the revenue that we're targeting?
Right. Well, Healer is a special example. I would rather, with them, it's very specific metrics, and we do talk about kind of common stuff like rankings and whatnot. For a typical home services company, if we're doing SEO, we're going to be talking about leads, again, sales leads and stuff like that, how rankings changed, and what those rankings were, what keywords those rankings were for. Are you ranking for something that nobody cares about and nobody searches versus something that actually brings value to your business, which again comes back to sales at the end of the day? We look at number of visits to your website and how they converted. Right? If you got 100 people to the website from organic search, how many of them became calls, then qualified leads, then whatever else. If we're talking about pay-per-click ads, then it would be similar situation, how many people clicked on the ad, how many of those people called, what they searched when they called. So we've tried to find information, data that is helpful to you for your business in your area, that is providing and producing the most ROI, really. Our goal is to provide the most ROI, not just even number of leads, because if you get 100 calls and they don't become sold jobs, then what's the point? Yeah. And then there's tons of different other channels too, social media, email marketing, text marketing. I'm going to be talking about all of that today at 4, not at 4, yeah, at 4, 3? Forgot what time, 3, I think.
And,
yes, sir.
Your company can see that through beyond the reporting of how much traffic to the website. In other words, you're familiar with service tightening.
Yeah.
You can gain access and you can see
Yeah.
others campaigns and things of that nature.
Yes. So whenever we start, whenever we start working with somebody, before we do any implementation, we make sure that the tracking is done correctly. Because again, let's say we work with you for a year and we tell you, you got 100,000 visits to the website. And you ask me a question of, well, how many calls did we get? And if I tell you I don't know, I did a bad job. So before we do anything in terms of content production and backlinks and whatever else, we need to make sure that we all business owner and us, can understand how the efforts that we are putting in, how the budgets that you're investing are, what they are resulting in, how they are affecting your business. And there is no quick way of doing it, unfortunately. It does take about a month or two to set everything up. And of course, it obviously takes a bit of budget as well. But one of the things that I would say is, as a business owner, it's not just a should, it's a must for you as a business owner to be able to answer all of those questions. We spent this much money on this stuff. How many calls, how many leads, qualified leads, how many sales and revenue we got? If you can't answer on every single marketing activity you do, every single one, a billboard, a wrap of a van even, like we just spent $20,000 on the wraps. Did that do anything for us? Like, you need to be able to track that. So my advice for you, every single one of you here, is have a separate phone number per every marketing activity. Every single one. TV ad, radio ad, billboard, SEO, PPC, GLSA, Bing ad. You should have a different phone number for every marketing activity that, in Service Titan links to that campaign name, so that when you spend whatever number of dollars, then you can pull the report and in Service Titan, for example, and it will tell you, because in Service Titan you can even attach the costs now. It will tell you how much you spent, how much, again, calls, leads, sales you got, so it becomes very clear for everybody. With a big asterisk, as long as CSRs don't mess with the data. That's one of the biggest problems, but that's a whole different situation. Any other questions we have?
Yeah, so overall what I'm hearing is you need to have some creative ads, which is probably not, is going to be a separate group from a group that's placing the ads, unless there's creativity within, one organization. I mean, if you don't have creative ads with good words or good content,
Do you
Rest
create
of- rest-
like graphic design?
yeah, rest of it's moot at this point.
Okay, so creativity. In the world of online marketing, creativity is a little bit overrated. And here's a simple example in terms of search ads, the text search ads. If somebody searches boiler maintenance and the ad says, there's multiple ads, and one of them says, I don't know, whatever the motto of your business is, like what's Hiller's one? I'm blanking. Yeah, like happy you will be, right? So, or it's free, something like that. Okay, so there you go. So let's say somebody typed in boiler maintenance and the ad pops up and says happy you will be, or it's free, or something like that. And then a second ad that says, we do boiler maintenance in Houston. Which one of those are going to click on? Like, it's obviously the second one. It's exactly answering the question you're asking. I want boiler maintenance. Well, tell them that you do boiler maintenance. And then maybe on the landing page, you do have that tagline and whatever else to kind of spice it up a little bit. If there is room, because the problem is that for ads specifically, there's only a certain number of characters you can have. I think it's 30 overall. Right, so you have to fit the message in 30 characters. If it was something more extensive, then maybe you can play with it a bit more. But typically, it's just direct to the point. And after they click on the ad and get to your page, you need to reinforce that they are on the right page. Again, if they typed in boiler maintenance, your ad says boiler maintenance in whatever town. They get to the page. Don't send them to home pages, please. Oh my goodness. If your PPC agency sends them to homepage or typical service, have a serious conversation, because you have to confirm that to the user that they are in the right place. That I was looking for boiler maintenance, I clicked add on the boiler maintenance, and the page also should say boiler maintenance, we do boiler maintenance, and then you have some taglines or whatever else. Because otherwise, if you send them to homepage, it's all of a sudden completely different message, talks about all of a sudden about electrical repairs and whatever else. Like, am I in the right place? I'm not sure. I'm just going to go and check somebody else out. So just keep that in mind. I hope I answered your question. Yeah, exactly. What I always say is, if user is thinking that's a bad idea. So make sure that they don't have to think even. They type whatever they type, they see what they just typed, go to the page, the same thing, and then there's a very clear call to action. If it's a call, then call. If it's text, then text. Give options too. I see that a lot of companies force you to call, but it's 2023. Texting is a big thing. Live chats are a big thing. Even social media messengers are a big thing, especially the younger we go. Like kids now, in 10, 20 years, they're going to be homeowners. They already live on social media. So you have to start adjusting to that as well. Yeah. Any other questions? We have about 5 minutes maybe? No? All right, let's wrap up with this. If you are doing any paid ads, Google ads or Bing ads or anything else, make sure that you max out your GLSAs first, Google Local Services ads. And the reason is this: you pay per lead there. More so, you pay per actual good lead. If the call or a message was a spam, solicitor, your employee using that number for some reason, you go to Google LSA platform and you dispute it, tell them it wasn't a lead, and you don't have to pay. So because of that, it's super efficient. Do GLSAs first, max it out as much as you can. Unfortunately, you can't tell Google spend $10,000 this week. They'll spend probably like 1,000, which is one of the stupidest things. I don't understand why it's that way. But the point is, max out that first, then try Bing ads because they're super cheap with, I don't know, $1,000 or $2,000. If it works, invest there more because per dollar you will get way more clicks and therefore hopefully leads and sales. And then after that, go into Google ads. So that's what I would recommend in terms of paid ads. And then, of course, SEO is super important. Yes, sir?
On the Google currency, you say there's no way to beat Google first way you can only max out. I don't know.
Well, the amount differs, but you can't tell them spend $10,000. You can ask them, but they won't do it. I don't know why. The most I've seen spent in a month on GLSA was about $7,000, and we're telling them spend $40,000 a month. Like, here's money, take it. And for some reason they don't do it. I don't know why. I don't understand why it's like that. I kind of have ideas, but yeah, it's very strange. Yeah. Yeah, as a side note, so that everybody understands, GLSA, Google Local Services ads, that's the Google guaranteed ads at the very top of the page, very, very top. That's what it is.
Doesn't Google have like some kind of vetting process though to be guaranteed?
Yes, it's very simple. So to be guaranteed, you have to have business insurance, which you should have anyway, a proper license that is required by state for whatever services you provide, which again you will have anyway. And then as a business owner, you have to do, it's like a background check basically. You submit the information, your social security number, stuff like that. Takes about a week maybe, super easy after you upload a couple documents. And yeah, that's it. And then you just re-upload it every, because licenses expire, insurances expire, so you just re-upload it every a year or whatever, and you're good.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
If you set the KPIs of what, like with y'all guys, if you're working with a client,
Mhm.
you have KPIs that you have to meet. Do you have any guarantee if you don't meet that, that there's a repercussion to incentivize to make sure you actually get the performance?
Right.
Or is that common in this space? Or?
It's not very common. And the answer is going to be simpler, but maybe a bit more complicated at the same time. If you want guarantees, you'll have to pay more. So if you want me to guarantee you that you pay me $100,000 and you get $100,000 back, no, sorry. If you want me to guarantee that I will make you $100,000, I will charge you probably, with a guarantee, I will charge you maybe like $99,000, right? But if you are willing to take a risk with me, now of course we have case studies, we've been doing this for a while, and we are trying to get as much ROI out of it. Typically 20% is kind of that sweet number, sweet position, but that's...
Say if you're ranked on the first page of Google,
Uh-huh.
and then all of a sudden you drop down to the 8th page of Google.
Something broke.
Yeah, and you go talk to them, they're like, I have no clue, we didn't even know that.
Well, that's a problem.
I feel like that's something they should monitor. I guess that's more so my question. Is there any way to track that?
Oh yeah,
if
of course.
you drop it and you don't fix it, you won't come to us and find out. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, of course. Monitoring is a big part of all of this. As marketers, we need to know what's happening. So, and as marketers, we need to not just find the problem, but come to you with a solution. At least that's how we operate, because you don't care about what broke, you care about how to fix it. So from that perspective, whenever, I don't know, like a Google update, for example, Google algorithm update, there's been maybe 10 in the last year, big ones, and every time they release it, something changes, there's a lot of volatility. And it's our job to understand what's happening, how it affects you, how it affects the business rankings and whatever else. One of the things that most people kind of don't necessarily realize is it looks like Google has changed over the last, 30 years they've been in business? They haven't. The main goal was always the same. It's their motto: provide the best search results in the shortest possible time. That's it. That's where it all comes from. The best results for the user is your page answering the question the user is typing, and then is it loading quickly enough, so like shortest possible time. That's why they created things like the instant answers at the top, right? You type in, I don't know, how old is Michael Jordan? You don't have to click to any pages, it's just right there at the top. Or that's why they created GLSAs, because if they know there's a company that is insured, that has good reviews, that's why GLSAs are there now. Because Google wants you to give users the answer as quickly as possible, and then they kind of rank within it based on other metrics. Same thing for paid ads, same thing for organic search and maps and everything else. If you change your thinking from that perspective, what Google wants, the best possible result in the shortest time achievable. That's it. Yes, sir.
Going back to his comment, from a business owner perspective, and there's probably some answers to this. If we go from number 1 down to number 8,
Mm-hmm.
and then that happens over time,
Mm-hmm.
what's the best way for a business owner to monitor that themselves to see that how can we catch that when we drop to number 2 or number 3?
Right.
So we go to 8 or 10.
Right. Well, first have frequent meetings with your marketing team, and they should be giving you that reporting, not other way around. In terms of tools, it's called SEM Rush. It's fairly inexpensive, like $140 a month for typical business. There's tools called Moz, M-O-Z, or Ahrefs. They're all about the same price, about $100 to $150 a month. And you basically type in the keywords that you want to rank for, and you see there. In terms of Google Ads, you just go to Google Ads platform, it will be there. It's called top impression share, which is percentage of time you're showing at the top out of all possible searches that people do, how often you show up at the very top. So it's just small metric in the platform itself. Same thing for Bing, same thing for, well, LSA wouldn't give you that, but Bing and Google Ads.
So what gets measured gets managed. What's a reasonable timeline to expect reports? I mean, is that a daily thing we should be getting from them?
No. If you have a lot of money, sure, get them to do it daily, but it means that there's gonna be one person pretty much working on the report every day for a couple of hours or something like that. Again,
Or is it like automated?
there is some automation for sure. The problem is when you try to marry the marketing data with CRM data. So for business, if everything is set up correctly, and again, big asterisk, CSRs don't mess with it, then actually for you, a lot of that stuff should be in Service Titan already. You can look at that daily in dashboards. And then everything else that's from a marketing perspective, like rankings and all of those other metrics. In the beginning, we tried to do it about once a week, twice a week, about once a month. I would say that for SEO, because SEO is not instant notification type of stuff, like PPC you pay today, you will show up today for Google Ads. SEO, it takes time, you have to produce content, post it, promote it, all that stuff. SEO, I would say once a month is a very good spot. PPC as often as weekly, depending on how much money you spend. Obviously, if you're spending, I don't know, $50,000 a month, you probably want to be a little more involved. But if you're spending $1,000 a month, well, then you kind of have to set your expectations correctly, and you get what you pay for. All right, I think we have to be wrapping up.